I served him up a mugshot. Always trust your gut. I'm begging you to always trust your intuition and your gut. I know this video is a little bit different than the other videos I make, but I had a feeling I should make it, and I wanted to get it off of my chest, and I wanted to talk about what happened to me today. So my name is Katie, and I make motivational videos and lifestyle videos and story time. So this one is a really big story time for you. So if you want to just sit back, relax, and listen to this crazy story time, feel free. So I work at a fitness center, and it's one generally towards families, and we have a lot of children that go there. And I'm front desk clerk there, so I do the customer service and I talk to everybody that comes in. These centers are much more drama than you think, but today wasn't too dramaful till it was my shift. So I had a 3:30 to 8:30. There was this guy who came in. Let's call him...
Real name.
She's saying I should say the real name.
Well, no, duh. You want people to be aware.
Right. I'll see you inside. I'm not changing his name. So, a Michael comes in. I am at the front desk. I have a coworker. Let's call her Suzanne. So, Suzanne's sitting next to me, and it was very busy at this time. We were checking a lot of people in, and there was this guy, and it was Michael. So, Michael goes over to the side where Suzanne is, and he's on his phone and he's talking, and we're having people just kind of trickling in. And as he's talking on his phone, lots of people are coming in, so I'm glancing his way, and he starts to move to get out of people's way, of course, because he's right in front of the gate where we let people in. So he gets out of the way and he moves towards my side. And then he actually, so how the desk is shaped is I'm here, Suzanne is here, and it's just like a round strip. So I'm on the end of the round strip. My side is generally less busy. That's why I like having that desk. And so he comes up behind my computer, still just talking on his phone. And I was like, okay, like at least he's out of the way. I'm just going to read my book. And so I'm reading my book. I'm writing stuff down. And then I look up, and girl, he was staring at me like this. And I looked up and I was like, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. How can I help you? And he's like, oh, I just want to get checked in for the day. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And I'm being like regular about it. And then he looks at me and he goes, oh, you're so pretty. That's exactly what he looked like when he did that. And he was like, you're just so gorgeous. You're just so pretty. This man is in his 50s. He looks late 50s, early 50s. I mean, late 40s, early 50s. And I'm like, maybe he's trying to be a sweet old man, whatever. So he was like, you're just so gorgeous. You're so pretty. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, yeah, you're just so pretty. I've never seen you here. Are you new? And I was like, no, I've actually been working here for a little bit over a year now. I just have school, so I don't tend to work these kind of shifts because we actually didn't have school today. And he was just like, oh, college? Or, and then I was like, no, I'm in high school. Then he was like, high school? You look 28. And then he was like, no. And then I was like, well, Suzanne over there, she's in high school too. We're the same age. And then he was like, yeah, but you, and then look up and down. He's like, but you look 28. You look so grown. You're just so mature. You have such a good presence. And I was like, oh, thank you. I hear that a lot. Appreciate that. And this entire time, I had a huge pit in my stomach. I felt ill. I felt so off. The energy was off. I felt like something was wrong. You know when you get goosebumps, you feel them? When I had my hand on my arm, I felt goosebumps, and my hair was standing up on my arms. And I just felt a huge pit in my stomach. My breath was getting shaky, and I was like, something's wrong. I've never felt this feeling before. I'm so scared. What is wrong? And he just keeps talking. He might be the best person at conversation I've ever heard. He was so easy to talk to him. It was so easy to have a conversation with him. And he always was able to talk about something else immediately after. he was very, very good at conversation and a friendly person, right? So he's just going off the rails, making a huge conversation. He's like, oh, I have a business. And then I was like, oh, I actually have some businesses too. And he was like, no, let me show you. And he pulls out this card. Straight AI card, by the way. It's like a photo card, except it has all of his business information on it, his phone number, his Zelle and everything. And then he was like, yeah, so for my job, I actually bring life back to photos. I restore photos. I do photo restoration, and I do photo editing. And I was like, wait, photo restoration? That's so cool. I'm thinking old photos. You putting old photos back together or making black and white photos colorful. Like, you know how people like, oh, it's so cool if you look into it. But I was like, oh, you do that? That's so cool. And he's like, yeah, I transform it. And then he shows me his phone. He's like, here's my buddy here. And whether you're a Trump supporter or not, this is going to be really cool. I was like, what are you about to show me right now? He shows me his friend and he's like, look at this before. No, really, take a look at it. And I was like, okay, I gotta look at it. Other people are in line. And I'm just like, he keeps talking. I'm feeling bad for Suzanne over here. But he's just like, no, take a look, a really hard look at it. And then I was like, okay, I am. And then he pulls up his phone again. And he's like, and then this is the after. And it was his buddy with his arm around Donald Trump on a yacht in the middle of the sea. The AI generated sea. It's all AI generated. It all looks like AI. And you shouldn't even be using AI, period. I know you're just draining our water. You're just killing us. You're killing us, by the way, to make this image of you next to the president. Why are we doing that? Anyways, so I was just like, wow, that's so cool. And then he was like, no, I can do it for any of your photos. I can do it to anything. Just give me a bad photo, blah, 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 blah. And then he was like, no, please actually give me a photo. I want to show you and your coworkers here my business. And then I was looking around and I was like, do you have Instagram? Could I just DM you a photo or something? Do you have an Instagram for this business? And if he gave me the Instagram for the business, I wouldn't have DM'd it. But he was like, no, just send it to my number right now. Pressuring me. And I was like, okay. And so I sent him a random picture of me and my boyfriend at prom. And I was like, I didn't like this about the photo, and I didn't like this about the photo. He was like, no, I'm just gonna edit this so perfect for you. People pay me hundreds of dollars to do this to their stuff, so the fact I'm doing this for free just makes you a really lucky girl. And just remember, you're just so pretty, and you're just so beautiful. And then starts glaring at me again. He was like, no, seriously, and I don't mean to be like a creep or a perv, but you're just stunning. And I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm really getting uncomfortable. I'm shaking in my boots. Why is this guy talking like this? Oh, and he just proceeds to try to convince me that I'm just the luckiest girl, that I'm doing this all for you. And obviously it's not working because I'm like, it's just AI. You're just gonna AI my photo. And that, guys, the photo card looks so funny. It has his personal phone number. So I don't want to try to get banned off of YouTube for leaking that. So I won't show it. But it was genuinely so funny. It was genuinely, they all looked goofy. So when I sent him the photo, I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is about to look so corny. I'm going to show all my friends. This is going to be the funniest thing ever, right? And then he has a fake Gucci backpack on, right? And then he's just looking over. He's like, no, seriously, I am in the big leagues. I work with the Kardashians. I work with high-rank celebrities. No, you don't. Nobody believes you. The Kardashians want you to badly edit something with AI for them. BFFR. And so I'm like, okay, whatever, sent you the photo. Here's what I would want fixed in it. And then he was like, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna be gorgeous. And he was like, I just did somebody's today. She goes over to, we'll just call it Banks High School. Oh, she just goes over to Banks High School over there. And I'm just like, oh, Banks High School? Oh, I know that high school. I go to blank high school. Blah. Don't know why I said that. But I was like, oh, funny coincidence. I was actually taking my senior graduation photos today, too. And then he was like, wow, that's so cool, blah, 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 blah. Keeps talking to me and my shift lead. So we have two people at the front desk and then we have a shift lead. My shift lead comes up behind me. Let's call her Margaret. Margaret comes up behind me and she says, hey, sir, you're having too long of a conversation. We have people waiting in line and she needs to get back to work. You cannot be distracting her with conversation like this. You guys have been talking for way too long. And then he just goes, oh, I'm so sorry. We were just trying to exchange businesses and connect our businesses. I'm so sorry about that. She has been nothing but a good worker. She greets me every time she comes in. She's my favorite person. She's the one I look forward to. I met you 5 minutes ago. He's talking about me like we've been lifelong friends. And I'm just like, what? And then he's just like, don't fire her or I will throw a big fit. Don't get her in any trouble with upper management. I'll talk with them because she's the only one I like here. She's my favorite here. This entire conversation was my fault. It was on me. I'll go. And then my shift lead was like, oh, thank you. He gathers all of his stuff and he leaves. I help the next couple of people and I get a vibration on my phone when it's slow again. Look down at my phone. And he texts me. He texts me the photo he did. Again, straight AI. It made my lips like this big. My lips are not that big. Okay, so made my lips 5 times the size. Knew it was AI. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he was like, going swimming. Chat later. And then I block him. I block his contact. And I'm sitting there and I can't even start reading again. I was actually shaking. My hands were shaking and I was like, why do I still have this horrible, awful feeling? What's happening? Why do I feel like this? And I started getting anxious and my eyes were watering. I just didn't know what was happening. And mind you, when he was done talking with the manager and she was like, oh, that's fine, blah, 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 just like, don't do it again next time, he just walks in through the gates. I look back at my computer. He never even paid to get in. He just walks in. And because I'm so distracted with her behind me talking, him just going on and going on, I just forgot to make him pay. So he just walks in free. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this today. I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm not even going to deal with this today. So I'm just sitting in my seat. Awful, awful feeling. I look at the paper. It has his first, middle, and last name. And I have an urge to search him up. And I search him up. Do you want to know what the first thing that pulled up was? A mugshot. A mugshot. Michael, don't come to my work again. Don't come to my work again. Mugshot picture. 2 charges. Child enticement and kidnapping. From Wisconsin, Adams County. I live in Utah. Why is this Wisconsin sexual offender in my town? I saw the picture and my heart sank. My stomach dropped. I seriously almost cried. I was like, there's just no way. Because the people that seemed so nice, I knew something was off. I had a bad feeling about him, but nobody else did. Because he seemed so nice. He seemed so normal. And I'm just sitting in my seat and I'm just contemplating and I'm having these thoughts. I'm constantly checking over my shoulder. I'm scared. I just found this man's mugshot. I click a Facebook post from Wisconsin County. And it has his mugshot and it has his age. He's 54 years old. Old man. I comment on the Facebook post and I say, so is he in Utah now? I get a reply from one of the main admins in this Facebook group where they show about all the emergencies, all the fires, any news reports or sexual offenders in the area. They post it on those pages. Reply to it. The admin responds back to me and she says, he doesn't live in Utah. His last known address was in Nevada. Why is he here? She's saying that he's in Nevada. Supposed to be in Nevada. No, this was the same guy. I saw the picture. This was the same guy, same name, same everything. It was this guy. So I was like, what is he doing over here? I turn around and I talk to the rest of my coworkers and they're all talking about how weird he is with girls and that he's been known and has been yelled at before for talking to the female lifeguards, distracting them from being on duty. Why are we still allowing him to be in the building? Why is he here? And they're just telling me, oh, he's known for just walking around and talking to these female lifeguards. Why have we done nothing about it? And I am just livid at this point. And so I go to my shift lead and I ask her, are we allowed to kick anybody out for offenses like this? He didn't even pay to get in. Even if we can't kick him out for having those charges, because his bond was only $5,000, so that's why I'm confused. He had strong charges when I looked at it, but yet his bond was only $5,000, and he's supposed to be living in Nevada right now. Ask them, and they're telling me they've been seeing him for months. So why is his permanent address in Nevada if he's been around our center for months, using our facility? I feel like we're not making this a big deal. I was telling my shift lead, I said, you can kick him out for not paying and just say he snuck in. You can kick him out for this. You can kick him out for that. If he's bothering the lifeguards and has been known to bother the lifeguards, kick him out. And she literally tells me that he actually got in trouble directly with the main manager of the entire building at my job. And he had to leave once, and he's never been banned. He's never been suspended, and they just keep letting him do it again and again. Like, there's no accountability. And so I'm just thinking to myself, there's no accountability, and something's going to happen that could be prevented. You know what I mean? We are in a center meant for families. There are children everywhere you look. There's a playground in there. They're everywhere. People drop their kids off there. Why is he allowed in the building? And she just says, it's fine, don't worry about it. Then she gets a call on the walkie-talkie, and I'm listening to the walkie-talkie, and the head guard is telling her that he keeps talking to lifeguards again, and he keeps bothering the female lifeguards. She goes in, and nothing. And then Suzanne over here on my right, patron comes in, just a random bystander. She comes in a little shook up, and she said, there's a man in there, and he's making me really uncomfortable. I'm getting bad vibes off of him. I was in the hot tub, and Michael and another girl were in there with me, and he kept talking to this girl about how he has this big business and how he works with these celebrities and how he's rich and he's just talking about the things he does for work. And it's making us all uncomfortable. And I just wanted to let you know that I've been having a bad feeling about him. And I've been seeing him walking around and talking and distracting these lifeguards. And only the female lifeguards. And he's making me really nervous. And I had to get out of the hot tub. And I'm leaving right now because I can't stay there. And I was like, wow. She's getting bad juju just from being in the same form of water as him. Like, why are we not kicking him out? Why are we not kicking him out? But they're just not doing anything. And then Suzanne was like, I'm going to go tell our manager. So Suzanne comes back and tells our manager, Margaret, hey, this girl's complaining and she wants him out, blah, 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 blah. So Margaret goes into the pool, and he's in the hot tub, and she gives him a warning. I think we've had enough warnings at this point. Gives him a warning and says next time he has to leave if it happens again. And then she comes back, and I'm like, hey, can we kick him out for this? And she said no. She said he was so nice, and he was very understanding and accepted his actions. He apologized, and the conversation went well, and he just said that he won't do it again, that he didn't realize he was doing anything wrong, and that it was just a big misunderstanding. So I'm just going to let it off as a warning. He made your own staff member uncomfortable, and you're just going to let it off with a warning? I'm telling you, he has charges regarding children, and you're giving him the whole store. On a silver platter, you're just giving him opportunities. I'm upset. I'm so upset. I was just sitting there, and I had to just deal with all these feelings in my head, and I still felt sick to my stomach. And then I just had to clock out and leave. And I had to keep looking behind me. I walked out with a family, so I wasn't walking out by myself. And I got in my car, and I drove home. Your gut is not wrong. Listen to how your body feels. Listen to how your body reacts when a certain person or when a certain situation happens, because it knows better. But like, God knows me, and my body knows me, and it knew something was wrong when my brain was telling me he was just fine, that I was overreacting, and that he was just being a regular person. He wasn't. So if you even watch this to the end, don't be afraid to act on your intuition. If that's all you get from this video, please just trust yourself. You know what's best for you, even when nobody else does. When everybody else thinks something's normal, that doesn't mean you're different. That means you're elevated. Use your critical thinking skills and use those gut feelings to keep you out of harmful situations. And that's all I hope you get from this video. And so thank you for watching till the end, if you did. And I love you, just in case nobody told you that today. And hard things happen for you all the time. That was a really awful shift for me, and something like that hasn't happened to me before. So even if I have a low subscriber count, I'm glad for just getting this video is less for you, but a lot for me to come out and say this. So thank you, and I love you.